Raphael Bob Waxberg, you son of a bitch. I love you. Hello everyone and welcome to the oncoming Brainstorm. I'm here today to talk about Bojack Horseman Season 6 Part 1. It dropped today, Friday, October 25th, 2019. And here we are. I've binged all 8 episodes in one day because I have no self-control and no social life. Woohoo! No, but seriously, I was waiting for this series to drop, even though this is only half a series, and it does feel like that watching Season 6. Now, I won't get into spoilers yet. There's going to be a spoiler-free section, just like last year I did the Season 5 review. I'm going to have a spoiler-free section and then jump into spoilers later. But before I do that, I just want to say me and my friend Sam worked on some great videos, I believe. Top 10 Bojack episodes, split into 2 parts, came out earlier this week. We talk about the best episodes of the show and the greatest moments of this awesome Netflix animated series that I have a weird obsession with. So yeah, please go check that out because I think we really nailed it, especially when it comes to the top 5 episodes. Now, on to Season 6. What did I think? I really loved this season, well, half season. It's hard to judge the series properly yet and compare it to others because it's only really half a season, like I mentioned earlier. And when I've binged earlier seasons, like when I binged Season 4 back in 2018 or 2017, and when I binged Season 5 back in 2018 last year, I did binge them in one go in one day. And I've done that this morning with Season 6. And obviously there were 12 episodes with the earlier seasons. This one's only got 8 episodes, and it does feel smaller. And I will say in terms of scale, this season feels a lot more sober, down to earth, and really character focused. And I wouldn't say Season 5 wasn't, but the last season I think got kind of a bit lost in terms of playing around with structure. And that was great because we had stuff like FREE.to, which was fantastic. One of my favourite episodes. But you had other episodes like Interior Sub, which I did enjoy, and like the Showstopper, even the Stop Show, where they're playing around with narrative and structure. And I feel like sometimes we really lost a grip on the characters' emotional connections, and all the emotional stuff was like stuck into specific episodes. Like you got Diane stuff in The Dog Days Are Over, and you got all the Bojack stuff in FREE.to. In Season 6, you get a really healthy blend of comedy and great character moments throughout the season. I feel like because Bojack is in its 6th season, and these writers like, Raphael Bob Waxberg and the rest of the team are brilliant, and they seem to learn from previous seasons and move forward, which is the best kind of writers. They look back at their previous work and they be objective and go, okay, where's the next best place to take this character? And obviously with Bojack, not to spoil that too much, but it does follow on from Season 5. Run away if you've not seen that. But yeah, he's in rehab and he's getting over his alcohol and drug addiction. And that's really awesome. That is really great. That's probably my favourite part of this series, next to some of the stuff with Princess Carolyn, but I'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, the stuff dealing with Bojack's addiction is fantastic, and there's some nice new characters that are introduced through rehab. There's a receptionist guy that's quite funny, Dr. Champ, another horse, and a girl called Jameson, who's quite familiar to Bojack, but I won't spoil too much, that's me just teasing the series. So the other stuff that was great, and I thought the series premiere might be my favourite opening to any Bojack season, and it was a much more punchier and faster opener than last season's. I do like the light bulb scene, but it does spend a lot of time just focusing on Filbert, which is the show that Bojack worked on when he was playing that character and met Gina and stuff. But I feel like this season, the first episode, which is called When a Horse Walks into Rehab, brilliant title, it had me almost in tears in the first few minutes, and you'll see why when you watch the episode, and if you have seen it, you know what I mean. So, with the screaming baby in the background, it's a nice segue into Princess Carolyn's storyline, where she's finally adopted a child. And that was a really fun storyline, I felt. Todd's up to his usual antics, but also helping Princess Carolyn, which is a nice little subplot about his character. You also get some stuff with Mr. Peanut Butter. He's got some interesting stuff with Pickles, his girlfriend he got from last season, and some interesting things he has to face and confront. And that's one thing I like about this season that they do with Mr. Peanut Butter. They kind of turn him on his head a little bit, just for a bit, where, he's always been the likeable, dynamic foil to Bojack, and he's always been the, I'm always happy. And Yeah, they do some interesting things there that I really enjoyed. Some more than others. And Diane, I did actually like a lot more this season. I felt like her character improved. And I think one reason why I've had problems with Diane recently, because I did love her in season 1 and 2, is that she's always presented as the voice of reason, which works really well for Bojack because he needs someone in his life to say, hey, look, mate, you're being a dick or you're being shitty. But when she's the voice of reason and her arguments feel a little wishy-washy, and I'm not sure if I'm meant to see her as the voice of reason when she does questionable things in like the 4th and 5th season. I found it hard to like relate to her and understand what are they trying to do with Diane. So that was a bit frustrating. I think this season they're a bit more clear about what they're doing with her, and I thought that was really lovely. And she gets some really, really cool storylines. Again, it's really hard to talk about the series without spoiling stuff, but for now, I really do love this first half of season 6. So that's it for the spoiler-free section. You can join me in the spoilers. If you've not seen BoJack Horseman season 6 part 1, go do that and return. Whew, right, there's a fair bit to unpack, but I think I'll try and keep it streamlined as much as I can. So Bojack spends, I think, about 6 episodes in rehab, and I think he leaves about episode 6 or episode 7. That was great. I love the fact that Bojack spent a lot of time dealing with this, and he didn't just run from his problems. He's actually facing them head on, and I think that is a great message. You know, if you want to fix things in your life, you got to look at the ugly parts of yourself in the face and go, right, I don't want to be that anymore, and that's lovely. That's great. That's so heartwarming. And this season is a bit mean, right? I mean, you could say all the seasons of BoJack are maybe a little bit mean-spirited because the show is quite horrible to its main characters. But this season is especially mean because it builds up your hope and your expectations and goes, ooh, maybe there's a chance, maybe there's some hope and positivity end of the tunnel. And then that last episode comes out and kicks you in the nuts, which is what like every episode 11 of previous seasons have done, like, you know, Downer Ending, Escape from LA, you know, That's Too Much Man, Time's Arrow. This is like a structure that keeps going on. The Showstopper, it's a reoccurring thing. That episode 11 is the gut puncher and the kick you in the balls moment. But they do that in the last episode of this half season. So before we build back up to that big ending, which got quite a reaction out of me, I love the stuff with Todd and Princess Carolyn this season. They had some really funny jokes, and I think because BoJack is now in its 6th season, it's become a more well-rounded show, as Bojack as an individual is becoming a more well-rounded person with more life experience and seeing his faults and learning from them. I think the show has become really well-rounded. Like, it's playing with structure, it's also funny, it's also dramatic. Like, it's hitting all these beats in such a small, like, tight package, which just tells you and shows you how damn good these writers are. Someone else who needs credit is Will Arnett, again, for his incredible voice performance. We see a bit of Butterscotch Horseman, again, in the first episode, and I absolutely love that. All the flashbacks that link to present day. The show has always done this great, but this was fantastic. This was giving me like Time's Arrow, you know, that season 4 episode where Beatrice has just like got dementia and she's going back in time to her childhood and stuff, and we got that kind of thing, but with Bojack and him in rehab, and that was just episode 1, and you hit me in the feels. That's how you know this is a damn good show. Episode 2 deals with Princess Carolyn, dealing with her child, who's not been named yet, still dubbed Untitled Princess Carolyn Project, which I love, and I like that they keep that joke running for a little bit in this season. And that was lovely, and seeing how Princess Carolyn is trying to still be a hard-working and independent woman, but really she just wants to spend time with her baby. She's worried that she doesn't love this baby enough because possibly because it's not her own, or she just not gave herself the time to process, hey, I have a baby now. She's so busy doing all this other stuff that maybe she's spreading herself too thin. And that's a really lovely realisation, you know, as a mother, you should give your baby the time it needs, the child, you know, that should be your top priority as a mother, not your work. And I think Princess Carolyn's slowly learning that. And by the end of the episode, Princess Carolyn calls the baby Ruthie, and that got me teary-eyed. Oh, This show, man. This show. We also get a storyline with Diane when she's going out to Chicago, working with Girl Crush still. And she meets a new guy called Guy. That was not intended. And yeah, this guy's a big buffalo dude, and I really liked him as a character. He's an interesting new love interest for Diane. And I think he put a spin on Diane's character that made her feel refreshing, which I've not felt for a long time with Diane, since like maybe season 3 or season 2. And by the end of the season, she's on antidepressants, which is nice. And Guy's come back, and she's a different person. And I think from the look he gives her at the airport, he's still gonna love her. So that would be lovely. I hope they're not teasing that Guy is gonna like go off for now because she's just gained some weight and she's on antidepressants. I hope Diane's end to the story is happy, because it's finally nice to see that she's possibly getting better. And we get that with every character, really. Well, actually, mainly just Diane and Bojack. I mean, Todd and Princess Carolyn are always pushing to do really good, but Bojack and Diane seem to be making baby steps towards getting to just be happier, and that's lovely. It's really Mr. Peanut Butter who gets the kick in the dick this season, and he's challenged a bit. He's flipped on his head, because he is quite a simple character a lot of the time. He is just a happy-go-lucky, hey, I'm a golden Labrador and I want a golden retriever, whatever, and I just want to be loved. And yeah, so he has to admit to Pickles in episode 4 that he cheated on her with his ex-wife Diane. And what's really funny about this episode is that all the main cast and a few side characters, including Pickles' family, are in the Peanut Butter house. And as Mr. Peanut Butter is just about to reveal to Pickles, hey, I cheated on you, everyone hears it. And sometimes this is like kind of an interesting commentary on when we see relationship drama on TV. You know, it's almost like we're getting a window into someone's life. And that can be really uncomfortable sometimes. It can be really interesting to see two characters argue like normal people. And it must be really awkward if you physically were in the room with two people when this big revelation comes out. You'd be like, whoa, I do not want to be here right now. So it's really funny because as audience members, we're in the shoes of Bojack, Diane, Todd, Princess Carolyn. They're just trying to protect Ruthie and not be seen, and not be seen by Mr. Peanut Butter and Pickles as they're having this massive debate about their marriage and should Pickles forgive Mr. Peanut Butter. And that's really interesting. The stuff they do after with Pickles and Mr. Peanut Butter after the episode, I don't think I'm a fan of it. It's just Peanut Butter suggesting the idea of, oh, Pickles, why don't you go sleep with some other guy so it equals out our marriage. It feels like it's resolved quite easily by doing that, and I don't know if that would actually work in a normal relationship. So that's a little strange. Todd's always good fun. I love Todd. Princess Carolyn and Todd are my favourite characters, by the way, if you're that interested. But Todd actually meets we finally get to see his stepfather, Jorge, I believe his name is, Jorge Chavez, which explains why Todd has a Latino-sounding name, even though he's a white character. That's kind of interesting. And it was really cool to finally see bits of Todd's family, although we don't get to see his mum, and it's kind of hinted towards episode 7, when we find out she's in a coma, which is really sad. That maybe we'll see her next season, because he's about to ring his mum, and then he finally gets his like ace Tinder match, which is nice. All about that ace, the dating app. Finally gets a match. And meanwhile, we do see Bojack going through some really big changes, and I love all this stuff with him and this girl Jameson, who's quite similar to Sarah Lynn in episode 1. And he meets this new character called Dr. Champ, who's sort of his therapist looking after him, another horse. And yeah, I don't know how to feel about this character. There's something a little off about him. I like the stuff of Bojack accidentally giving him vodka, and then he like goes off the deep end, and he goes from being a guy who's very sober, got a good marriage, his life is in order, he's telling people how to lead a better life, and he drinks one sip of alcohol, and instantly, oh my god, his life is a mess. And Bojack is sort of responsible for that. At the same time, I did think that water bottle was a lovely image when, you know, Bojack is using it as a reminder to look at it, and he sees the stars from the auditorium, or the observatory, sorry. And all the stuff that happened with Sarah Lynn. It's a reminder of him not to touch drugs or alcohol, to stay away from it. That's great. But at the same time, I feel like Dr. Champ drinking that vodka is a little forced and a bit too easy. Like, I like all the stuff that comes from it, but him actually drinking the vodka, it's not Bojack's fault. So when in episode 7, I believe, or it might be episode 6, correct me if I'm wrong, at the end, yeah, it's episode 6, at the end of that one, when Dr. Champ gets really angry with Bojack and is like, you just poison everyone around you, or you just ruin everyone's lives. I'm like, dude, take some responsibility. I mean, I know you're a recovering alcoholic, but still, Bojack didn't do it on purpose. When Herb or Todd gets mad at Bojack in previous seasons, that felt earned. It was like, yeah, they are right, they're the voice of reason. Here, it wasn't Bojack's fault. And maybe that's the point. Maybe we meant to empathise with Bojack and go, yeah, Dr. Champ is being out of order here. But I felt like it was a little wishy-washy in some bits, and I was like, okay, I don't really know how to feel about this character and his relationship with Bojack. So despite the fact that I feel a little bit mixed about what they did with Bojack and Dr. Champ, I do love the stuff that comes from Bojack's character after that in episode 7, where he's travelling around to different states, visiting Diane in Chicago, visiting Hollyhock. That was lovely. That was great. And it's kind of interesting that Bojack doesn't want to go back to his house, and he's kind of realising this feeling in his stomach where he has all these really bad memories. And it's great when he goes there and he has all these terrible flashbacks of him punching the wall when he's Filbert and he's getting mad with Gina. Stuff with his mom when he's throwing the baby doll. Oh, it's just heart crushing. And this season does it a lot, where it just call back to something. And because the show is in its final season and it's the 6th season, and it's done all this legwork where we really know this character inside and out, and we've seen so many different awful things happen in their life, they can just show an image and whoa, like the galaxy and the stars in the planetarium with Sarah Lynn. Just to quickly, sorry for rambling and go all over the place, but I absolutely adore the new title sequence, and I love the fact that they decided to change it. We're just flicking through images of Bojack's life, and it's great. We get fish out of water, free churro, bam, 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 all these really impactful things, and I especially love when it starts off with Bojack while he was unhorsing around, and then it kind of fades, and you see a little bit of Herb when he was actually working on set, and he has his beard, and he's a young man, and then you cut straight to when Bojack went to go visit Herb in the telescope in season 1, and he's just bald and he's got cancer, and you just see his friend has just gone all through all this shit, and just no words, just images, and that's what this show can do to you, because it has that established lore and world now, which is great. It has established history, and this show really, and by this point the show is really playing on that. Love it. And yeah, going on from there, Bojack can't go to his house because of all the memories of the past. He's kind of travelling around to see his friend, to check up on him, like Diane. Diane's depressed, and she's trying to write a book, but she's struggling. And yeah, we get Hollyhock, and when I saw Hollyhock, I was just wondering the whole season, I was like, are they going to bring her back for part 1, or are they going to save her for part 2? And then, such a fuck yeah moment when you see her in episode 7, I was like, yes, Bojack and Hollyhock back. And Bojack also reunites with his hairstylist from horsing around years later in an AA meeting. And we actually find out Bojack's been dyeing his hair for ages, so his hair isn't naturally black anymore. It used to be. So when she gives him a new fresh trim, he's got shorter grey hair and he looks older. And instead of wearing his usual get-up, he changes his clothes, and it's such a radical change in look for this character. For 6 seasons, he's always had that traditional black hair. He's kind of tubby, and he's got the grey jacket, the blue sweater, and the red Converse at the bottom. But they're changing his look so late in the game. That reminds me a lot with Diane in season 5 when she got a new haircut. That was sort of a big thing for her, and she looks so different in that season. It was just a little change, but this one feels quite big. Bojack looks different, and maybe he's embracing the fact that he's getting older now. He's not afraid of the past anymore, and that's kind of nice. It's like a physical manifestation of what he's going through in that season. Great stuff. So yeah, I've kind of jumped around a bit, and I've talked a lot about the season. There's probably some things I missed, but I think I need to wrap this up and get into the finale. Well, the mid-season finale, episode 8. So episode 8 is probably the black sheep of this season for me, and I think I would appreciate this episode a lot more if I had the whole season. I think for now, the ending is just so like, it leaves you on such a nasty cliffhanger. And yeah, I mean, we get a bit of foreshadowing with the return of Margot Martindale, which is brilliant. We only got a little bit of her in season 5, but here we get a bit more where she's actually talking, other than just saying, Bojack! Bojack! We actually see her still at the monastery with these lady nuns. And yeah, she just goes back to being a badass again and kind of takes, a highway to hell. And I think that's a little bit of a dramatic foreshadowing for what's going to happen with Bojack maybe later, which I don't want to happen because it's kind of hinted that Bojack's going to go to a more serene, relaxed lifestyle when we see him at the end of episode 7. He's chilling out with some horses in a church, which is so weird to see with Bojack. Like, he seems like he's actually making recovery. We get to see a bit of Gina when she's working on the new show, and she has some sort of PTSD over what happened with, the chokety choke scene. Horrible. So she doesn't like surprises anymore. Hollyhock doesn't want to go out and get drunk. I mean, she wants to socialise, she wants to party, but she's scared of losing control under the influence of alcohol. Or because of what happened with Bojack's mum drugging her. We also get hints towards Charlotte when these two journalists are digging into what happened with Bojack and Sarah Lynn. Like, Sarah Lynn's mum's wondering why Sarah Lynn just suddenly went off the deep end and just went crazy with drugs and overdosed. Like, she seemed like she was doing fine, and then bam, something comes into her life and ruins it. And the trail is getting hotter and they're getting closer towards the fact that, yeah, Bojack did it. And you get a couple of references, like you get the Dunking Bird dude who was at the AA meeting in That's Too Much Man in season 3. He comes back and he didn't give him full details, but yeah, he's hinting towards Bojack. And then we get some stuff where it's hinting towards Charlotte. They're getting closer to where Charlotte lives and where her family lives by the end of that episode. And then you get this really crushing reveal where Hollyhock is at a party and she starts talking to this guy. And I didn't recognise the character straight away because he's grown a bit of a beard. They've changed his look a little bit. So he's actually grown up since the events of season 2. So at the beginning, we just think this is a new character. I thought he might be the guy, Diane's ex-boyfriend before Peanut Butter. He was this guy with like bow tie and glasses, like he's a bit of a dick. I thought it might be him. But no, it's a different character, and as you're going along and this guy's helping Hollyhock with her anxiety attack at a party, there's this slow, horrible reveal which gives you this sinking feeling and making you go, no, don't do this, no. I'll just go, no, please. This character was there on the night with Bojack and Charlotte when Bojack, this 50-year-old guy, is hanging around Charlotte, who's like 17, I believe, by that point in season 2. Then we're slowly building up to the fact that he's going to reveal this to Hollyhock. Hollyhock doesn't know anything about this. And the show has been building towards this gradually. We got quite a bit of it in season 5 as well, but now Bojack's really going to have to face the music in part 2 of season 6. That is terrifying. So yeah, this show is so mean. It builds you up and then pushes you back down. And with probably the most optimistic season next to season 4, it gives you that crushing reveal and leaves you on a cliffhanger. And I was just like, no, you can't do this to me. So yeah, I'm still trying to process what's happened. But overall, I do love this first half. And I think I will appreciate the mid-season finale once I've seen the full series. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember just being so pissed off about that episode, leaving me on a cliffhanger. But thank you guys for watching. I have rambled a lot, so I apologise, but these are just my general thoughts after watching, and I thought I'd get the video out there. Why not? Let's go for it. And yeah, I've really enjoyed making this video. Let me know what you think of Season 6 Part 1 so far, and give me some thoughts and predictions and theories as to how you think the show's going to end. Because I don't think it's going to be a happy, optimistic one, knowing this show. It's going to have to be bittersweet, I think. I think that is the Bojack style, bittersweet or depressing. I would opt for bittersweet. So yeah, join me in January, on January 31st to be specific, for Bojack Horseman Season 6 Part 2. I'll catch you guys then. Take care and goodbye.